Hello, and thank you for jumping on to Steelers to Go, your daily to go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. I'm Noah Strackbine. I'm here every Monday through Friday. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk or anywhere you get your podcast. And today, we're talking about a rookie star who is already showing that he probably shouldn't have been passed up on in the NFL draft. There were a number of wide receivers taken in the first round, and every one of them deservingly so. There was at no point did you think Jamison Williams shouldn't be a first-round pick, or Christian Watson shouldn't have been a first-round pick, or Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson shouldn't have been a first-round pick. But there should have been thoughts that George Pickens should have been a first-round pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers' second-rounder, 52nd overall, is by no means the 52nd best player to come out of his draft class. Already, he's showing that he is capable of so many things in the NFL. It took 3 days. The Pittsburgh Steelers OTA started really slow. There were no points where you thought, oh man, somebody was exploding off the scene. There was no points that you said somebody had a big upper hand in any position battle. And then Thursday happened, day 3, to end week 1, and you said, holy crap, George Pickens is for real. The only thing we knew before that was that Najee Harris looks like an absolute animal. And if you haven't checked out the latest All Steelers Talk, you need to, because I go deep into how big, how aggressive, and how phenomenal Najee Harris looks at OTAs. And yeah, it's shorts and helmets. I get it. But if you're a running back, if you're a second-year guy and you already came into the NFL looking big, and now you look twice the size that you were a year ago, it's impressive and it's notable. And it's easily the most notable thing coming out of Pittsburgh Steelers OTAs to this point. Number 2 might be George Pickens. This dude is the size of Chase Claypool and looks every bit of the size of Chase Claypool. He's not as thick, obviously, but Chase Claypool came into the league being that dude who's 6'4", 235 pounds, and can run a 4.3. We knew who Chase Claypool was. But with George Pickens, you just knew he was a lengthy dude, and you knew he had some route running ability. You knew he could go up and get balls. He was aggressive, and obviously he had an attitude. What I've seen so far is a guy who is as big as Chase Claypool, who can go up and get the ball better than anybody in the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room. Can go, and again, shorts and helmets, but can go up and get the ball better than anyone on the field. Can outjump anyone on the field. Can route run as well as Deontay Johnson, and has Calvin Austin style speed. It is ridiculous. George Pickens caught a pass, and, I'm not supposed to go deep diving, so I won't, but George Pickens caught a pass during practice, just a simple crossing route, caught the pass, was already a step and a half ahead of the defender, made that a 3-step gap in 0 seconds, got around the corner, had 4 or 5 defenders running full speed to just tap him, and he outran every single one of them down the sideline, keeping his feet in bounds. You could check it out on Twitter a couple of times where he catches a football and stays in bounds and has the ability to turn the corner as sharp as anybody on the field. George Pickens already looks like a star. And I get it's early and those declarations are drastic. I understand that. But I'm a dramatic guy. And I'll be the first one to admit it because I'm confident that 6 months from now, everyone's going to be saying, oh my gosh, George Pickens is already an all-pro guy. George Pickens is a Pro Bowler. George Pickens is the Najee Harris 2.0 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wow, what a steal in the draft. And you want to know who called it 3 days into OTAs? This guy. And that's why I'm going to be drastic because, I'll say a couple of things like Calvin Austin looks very good, but Calvin Austin isn't getting used as much as George Pickens. Chase Claypool looks a lot more mature and he looks a lot better working in the slot than he does on the outside. But we kind of already knew that was going to happen because Chase Claypool works best with the ball in his hands. And the best way to get the ball in a wide receiver's hands is have him run shorter routes in the middle of the field. He's 6'4". If you're 6'3", 6'4", going against an Arthur Millette, chances are you got a body advantage on him. He looks good. Mitchell Trubisky looks good at OTAs. Like I said, Najee Harris looks like an absolute monster. Akello Witherspoon continues to have that swagger that we were all worried was going to go away. It hasn't gone away. Levi Wallace looks like a dog. DeMonte KZ is an open book, has already picked off Kenny Pickett, and is pretty solid to move everywhere on the field. Cam Sutton is working his way back into a chess piece, which is best for Cam Sutton because he is such a versatile guy on a football field. Minkah Fitzpatrick and Terrell Edmonds look to be in sync, and Trey Norwood looks to take another step forward. On top of Miles Jack solidifying the inside linebacker group, Buddy Johnson making improvements, the defensive line looking better, and the offensive line starting to mesh. Lots and lots of takeaways from the first week of OTAs, but 1, Najee Harris. Outside of Najee Harris, 0 have stood out stronger than George Pickens being an absolute freak on the football field. An absolute freak on the football field. There will be little chance that he doesn't play almost every snap this season. And if the Steelers have a 4-set wide receiver group that they could rely on heavily in Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, and Calvin Austin, it's a dangerous group to work with. On top of that, Pat Fryermuth's making athletic catches for a tight end. So athletic that he caught a football on the back of his calf, did a somersault, got back up, and kept it trucking. I don't know about you, but I don't think Heath Miller was doing that. And Heath Miller is a Hall of Fame consideration tight end. Cam Hayward is a running back turned tight end, and he can't do that. Pat Fryermuth looks good. Zach Gentry looks more mature. He looks slimmer. He looks a lot quicker and a lot more confident after a year of actually playing quality minutes. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense it needs a lot. It needs a lot of work. And that offensive line is going to solidify pretty much everything. If they mesh and if they work, then this team is going to be golden. If Mitchell Trubisky doesn't lose games, this team's going to be just fine. But if it was just the skill guys, if this was a 7-on-7 football team every single down, oh my gosh, would they be good? And it starts with George Pickens. Obviously, he's not the best wide receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he has a strong opportunity to be within the next year. That's promising. The Steelers got a steal at 52, an absolute steal. And outside of that, very early, all of their draft picks look like steals so far. Kenny Pickett looks good. Mitchell Trubisky looks better, but Kenny Pickett looks good. He looks like a dude who has a lot of potential in this NFL, who came in here very confident for a rookie quarterback, but understands that this is Mitch's job to lose, but it's Mitch's job, and that's okay because he's here to learn. That's promising. Mark Robinson looks like a linebacker, runs like a running back. It is crazy how he uses those two skill sets perfectly together. And that was a guy that everybody said raw is not a good thing. Yeah, well, maybe it is because this dude looks good. Calvin Austin. We've talked about Calvin Austin. Very good. Super speedy. Super twitchy. We need to see what he does with pads on, but there's never been any indication that he can't perform to the same abilities in shorts and helmets that he does when it's full contact football. Outside of that, DeMarvin Leal is learning from the best group of defensive linemen he possibly can. Cam Hayward looks like a coach and a veteran, and a little bit of gray in his beard is starting to show. But that's okay because with maturity comes leadership, and this dude's been a leader since day one. Since day one, he took the lessons of Brett Kiesel, James Harrison, Aaron Smith, those guys, and said, hey, I'm going to turn that into my own leadership. I'm going to turn that into creating the next generation of football players when it's my time, because when I came in here and I was the next generation of Steelers football, they taught me. He's doing that, and it makes Marvin Leal a dangerous prospect for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Outside of that, Chris Oladokun is doing his job, and he's doing his job quite well. And the Pittsburgh Steelers as a whole, they look good. They look good. It's shorts and helmets. You can't get overhyped about things. You're going to be more dramatic than less dramatic. It's that time of year where all we do is talk about the good, because once the football season starts, it's the good with the bad. And usually there's a decent bit of bad. That's okay. Bad is allowed to happen because if OTAs look strong, and last year it was, Zach Banner's not practicing, Kevin Dotson isn't practicing, why is Rashad Coward starting at left guard? There were a lot of bads at the beginning of spring ball for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This year, totally different story. And to highlight all of that, on top of Najee Harris's absolute freak movement, and the possibility that this dude becomes the best running back in football, George Pickens looks like an animal. And yeah, I will be the first person to admit it. This dude's already a star. And in 6 months, in 7 months, and a year from now, when everybody's talking about how George Pickens is the next great Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to say, hey, look it, people call me dramatic. I called myself dramatic because I am being dramatic. But I was right because it didn't take much to say, holy crap, this guy could catch a football, this guy could run with the football, and this guy is twice my size. And yeah, most football players are twice my size. But Calvin Austin isn't. Deontay Johnson isn't. Sometimes that means something. With George Pickens, it means something. Especially when he goes up and grabs some footballs. Especially when he can outrun everybody on a football field. Especially when he cuts like a dude who is half his size. George Pickens is the complete package. He's somebody to watch. We already knew that. Right now, he looks like a steal. In 6 months, in 7 months, I'll be sitting right back here, and I will make a whole episode that just says, hey, remember who said it first? And I'm always that guy. I'm always the guy that says, yeah, I'm going to brag a little bit because I don't get to brag much. You know, that ain't me. That ain't me. That ain't my job. I'm not Adam Schefter. Sometimes I get a first look at things. Sometimes I like to brag. But with that brag comes humility, comes the fact that I am the first person to admit that right now I'm being dramatic. So take it all, but don't take it all with a grain of salt. That's not what I'm saying. Just take it all and laugh with me. Laugh at me with me and say that Noah, Noah's being a funny guy. Noah's being a lot. Usually that's his character. Noah's also letting us know, George Pickens is about to be good. Good. George Pickens is already a star.